there's a water source, and you've already got the outside grid done, the outside around the city. The guy through it every 1 or 3 miles or 5 miles, depending on the size of your orgo. Then go inside the city itself and get a couple of key areas. Because there's a lot of entrances inside cities to these underground bases that the aliens have. And it just annoys them. You know, I love to saturate an area, I just overkill it. Not because I don't think the orgo's working, I like to overkill the area. I like to get a lot of it in there, just to make it as miserable as possible for them. You know, it's wiping them out. This is definitely the month and the year that they are waking up to what this organ's doing to them. I have seen in the Bible codes where Satan has been on one of my websites and just amazed and shocked at the correctness and truth that's listed on the website. Of course, I can't pick which one he's on. I have 20 websites, and I can't really tell which one in particular that he's been on. People don't think Satan needs the internet. Think again, you know, Satan has an email address. These people, these beings are very high-tech. The internet being technology handed to us by them, from them, and they have backdoor access, and this is where Microsoft and even our government learned all the little tricks about having backdoor access into somebody's computer. They've been taught all of this by the people who gave them the internet to begin with, the aliens. They're a very high-tech species. Not even, you know, they're just fallen angels, and so they've been around a lot longer than mankind has. Because they were rebelled against the Lord, they were kicked out of heaven. And so for a couple thousand years, they've just been waiting for this time when the green light would turn on, and they will be able to take over Earth. And so they're just very high-tech. Some of these technologies, lasers, we've gotten from the aliens, microscopic chip implants, something we've gotten from the aliens. Just the whole chip thing itself from aliens. Chip implanting people from the time they were born. That's why I hear of children having bloody noses all the time. Because they were implant children. It's a way of controlling the population. It's a way of targeting them. They can come back to visit later, have you marked in their database, whatever. They've been doing it for a long time, and now you'll see that the military is doing it themselves. They have their own chip implanting thing going. They have their own fleet of UFOs. NSA pilots piloting these UFOs. And they're working alongside each other, folks. And so the green light, I mean, the years are coming. Something in particular that the Lord has had me warning the last couple of weeks is about the coming famine. And boy, it really hit home the other day when I was working on code. Because I can see in 2009 that all 4 horsemen are riding, folks. And so that's you know, the white horse, the red horse is riding now. The black horse, and then the pale horse. And if the pale horse is riding in 2009, that means Satan's here, Maitreya is here, Jesus is here, this Sananda. They're all here in 2009, because the pale horse is plagues and hell. And this hell, and I described it in one of my other shows, death and hell followed with him. The name that sits on the horse, the pale horse, is death, and hell follows with him, depicting the Satan, the Antichrist, and his forces. So if they're here in 2009, folks, that means up until that point, we've already had the black horse. And what's the black horse? The black horse is the famine horse. And so from now until 2009, we're going to see a famine on the earth that is so horrible that it's going to kill about a quarter of the Earth's population. Actually, between all these horses, will kill about a quarter. But this famine's going to kill about 1 billion, 2 billion people, folks, on top of the plagues and the wars and everything else. And so just picture it, because it could, when you're talking that kind of numbers, an entire country could be wiped out. America only has about 300 million in it. And of course, we're not all going to die in America by famine, because so many of us, so many of you have been preparing already. We also know that they have to have people to kill in the 5th seal. And so that's what's going to happen, but this is going to be worldwide, folks. I know that the continent of Africa will basically starve to death during this famine, this coming famine, because without the help of everybody else, they can't subsist by themselves. So a lot of dead in Africa, a lot of dead in America, and of course people have a hard time believing that. People could actually fall over by famine and death in America, but it's coming, folks. And so that's why I've been warning We haven't seen it in 2007 yet. We have seen a spike in price increases in food. Bread going up, milk going up. Milk's almost $4 a gallon. And if you're on the West Coast, it's probably doubled. Because everything in the cities is a lot higher. I live in a two-horse town. And everything in the cities is a lot higher. Prices are different all over the country for different things. And so just a steady price increase on foods that will never go back down. And so you need to start preparing now, folks, for the famine of 2008. Because it has to start. It has to happen in 2008. And so what kicks off this famine, this war, will kick off famine. And so this war coming up with Iran and North Korea and Syria is probably what's going to kick off. But how would it affect America? I mean, wars in the Middle East have never affected America before. Well, America's going to have some kind of catastrophes over here to bring it home, to make it happen here. And so you're looking at dollar crash, looking at economic crash. One thing that's seen in the codes for September was economic drama. I talked about this last week, but that the market would continue. We're buying time here, folks. And so we definitely do have a market crash coming here. We have terrorist attacks coming here. Something is going to force the stores across America from one coast to the other to close. Because the stores are going to be closed. People aren't going to be able to buy food. This isn't a famine that's just induced over time and the weather or whatever. This is a forced famine that's coming. They're enforcing this on people. There's actually no need to have a famine. They just want one. They want to kill off a couple million, 100 million people, so they're going to force this famine that's coming down. The whole thing with dollar crashing is a forced economic crash. Everything, all of these 6 seals are man-made disasters. The horses riding, the beings riding these horses and everything. The first half of the tribulation period has always been depicted as Satan's wrath on earth. And the last half being God's wrath on man. And the Lord had always said He would protect His people. We wouldn't experience His wrath. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be raptured out of the earth. He can protect you right here on earth. He didn't take Noah off the earth. He built Noah an ark. Had Noah build an ark. Noah had to get off of his butt and do something, and that's something churches today don't want to hear about. I don't have to get off my butt and do anything. And they're going to be one of these people that's on the outside of the ark begging Noah to let him in if they lived back then. I get so sick and tired of the apathetic crowd today of churchianity. There's just no hope for them. They wonder why they're one of the altars, souls under the altar, because they're so stupid. They don't listen to the Lord. They don't listen to anybody that speaks for the Lord, from the Lord. They're putting all of their own faith in their own ability to not be able to understand Scripture or the Lord Himself. I mean, they think they know it all, but they're going to be the ones that are dying. And so that's why, when people don't agree with you, don't coax them to. I just walk away from people. I refuse to argue with people. Refuse to even get into it, because you know what? The 144,000 is a minority, folks. Out of all the millions and millions of people in America that profess to be Christians, there's 144,000 that really are. But they'll have a chance to prove their loyalty to the Lord and their faith. But as a result, they'll die. They'll die. And so that's where we're headed, folks. Heading into a famine, heading into the third horse riding. Second horse is already riding right now, and so the next one being the black one. And you can read about the 4 horsemen, folks, in Revelation chapter 6. Question from a reader. Listener, would you elaborate a bit more on children with bloody noses having been implanted? My son, now almost 22, had constant severe bloody noses as a child. Doesn't mean no, it doesn't mean he's doomed. I mean, everybody's gotten chip implanted. They put chip implanted in vaccinations, booster shots,